There we go.
Hey, Cowboys Nation. All right. You are live with the Brews and the Boys podcast, and we are unfortunately going to be talking about a loss today that was just annoying in every sense of that word. I can't believe how bad this game was. I think this game was actually worse than the Denver loss, even though they got their asses beaten Denver, just because of what the Cowboys failed to close out this game. This team today, they showed you a couple of things. We're going to have to get negative before we can get positive, so we're going to have to go here. But you saw the way that they played in the first half. You know, Dan Bailey gets the field goal in the first quarter. They tied up at 3-3. Then you have Ezekiel Elliott with a 10-yard pass from Dak Prescott, touchdown. You get another field goal. You're holding the Rams offense, the Rams that have scored 40 points twice this year already. You're holding the Rams offense back. You get another touchdown from Ezekiel Elliott. And then before the half, you get another touchdown from Bryce Butler, and you're up 24-13, or 24-13. Then you let them, right before the half, go and kick a field goal, and it's 24-16, only to not even show up for the second half. And get your ass beat 35-30. The Cowboys lose today 35-30 in a game that was just so annoying to watch them do this, to watch them fail to close out a game was incredibly just average. That's what it is. The Cowboys are 2-2. They're an average football team. That's what they are right now. And I don't want, anyone that's I know you're going to come in here and you're going to say, well, what happened about what was, the team was 13-3 last year. That team that was 13-3 last year got beat by the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs, and then they were no longer to be seen from. This is a new year, a new team, might be some of the same characters, but today they got outscored in the last half of football. In a tremendous way. They gave up 19 straight points before they were able to bring the game within 2, and then they miss on the 2-point conversion from a bullshit holding call.
That wasn't holding. Come on.
A bullshit holding call for Travis Frederick that brings them back, and then they get another shot at it, but then there's a call on the Rams, and then they get another shot at it, and they can't put it in. But ultimately, this game, guys, is telling. And now that we're 4 games in, you can start to come up with ideas about a team, okay? Dude. And right now, the Cowboys are showing us right now that they're basically an average football team. They're not the 13-3 team that they were last year. They're not the Super Bowl contending Dallas Cowboys. They are an average football team. Now, we're going to get into why this might be a little bit of overreactions and stuff. We're going to get into that later, but we're just going through the game. Dak Prescott throws an interception when you can't throw an interception, throws an interception. This is not the Dak Prescott that we have known and loved throwing interceptions. That's just not who he is.
Hey, Kevin England, how are you?
He's playing, he's just not, they were not playing the right way. In the first half, they were scoring, and in the second half, they just don't even show up. They come up flat. The Rams are a good team, Kevin. They are a good team. But you look at the teams that they beat before they beat the Cowboys. This is the test game for them. This was a big win for the Rams because they beat the 49ers and they beat the Colts, two of the worst teams, 2 teams in the NFL that are one of the worst teams around. But you look at it, you got to be disheartened by what you saw in this game, by the way that they played to finish it up. That was incredibly coaching. If we get to coaching now, the calls that they were making. When you go up 24-16, they kick a field goal before the half and it's 24-16.
Thank you, Kevin.
You stop them when they come back on the field, and then you go and pursue to not even score any points in the third quarter. In the NFL, you got to keep your foot on the gas. You got to keep scoring points. You got to beat teams. You have to beat them. Don't let them come back and beat you. And that's exactly what the Cowboys did. They got out-coached today by the Rams head coach, who's only 30 years old. They got out-coached by their own former coach, defensive coach Wade Phillips, who's the defensive coordinator for the Rams now. You look at the stat line. Dak Prescott threw 20 of 36 for 252 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception.
They forgot about the play action from Kevin.
Oh, of course they forgot about the play action.
100%.
Once the second half started, Whatever team came out onto that field after halftime was not the same Cowboys team that was there in the first.
Hello to Will Rose joining us, too.
Hello to Will Rose. Hello to Kevin. Hello to everybody that's joining us. It was just, there's a few things you got to talk about. One, they were missing Sean Lee big time in this game. Sean Lee not playing in this game. The tackling was way off. They allowed Todd Gurley to get over 200 yards on them offensively. That's incredibly bad. He had 121 rushing yards on him. Almost about 100 yards receiving as well. 94 yards receiving. He had 100 yards rushing and almost 100 yards receiving on this team. One guy pretty much wrecked them in the third quarter, and that's what wrecked their game. Ezekiel Elliott had 21 rushes for 85 yards. He got going early, and then that went away. Alfred Morris had a big run of 70 yards, and they got them to score. But there are not a lot of excuses that you can make when you lose 35-30 and you were up 24-13 at one point in time. That is incredibly bad football, bad fundamentals on the defense, just bad all in all. It was a bad game for them, and I think it's worse than the Denver game just because I think the Cowboys... This team out today reminded me of old 8-8 teams that Romo was on. They can get a win, then they're going to get a loss. They can go back and win a big win against the Arizona Cardinals, and then they're winning against they're winning against the Rams, and what happens? They lose in the end. That is what this reminds me of. This team, if you think that you're watching the same Cowboys from 2016, you're absolutely high. They're not that same team. They're not that same team. Now they're only 2-2, okay? We look at it.
Not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. It's 4 games in, and they're 2-2.
So many more.
But it's the way that they are losing games. They get blown out in Denver. Just got the doors busted off of them in Denver.
Yeah.
And then they come back. They come back in this game up 24-13, and what happens? They give up 19 unanswered points. 19 to the Rams. Before they score 6, and at the end of the game, Dak Prescott, the defense gets him the ball back, but he has to win on a 4th and 10 that he throws short of the sticks. That is not going to win you games. You cannot throw when you need 10 yards. Why in the fuck are you going to throw for 6 and that is just not. The Rams were closing in on that. You saw it coming. This game today, I hope there's a lot of pissed off Cowboys in the locker room. Defensively speaking, they were out of sync. They got 1 sack today against Jared Goff. They could not, DeMarcus Lawrence got that sack, but they could not get their defense going. They were playing so much average football today. That's what they were playing on defense, especially playing so far off the line in zone. When a 3rd and 11, you had the Rams pinned down in their own territory, and you gave up a fucking 3rd and 11. That is incredibly bad. So what we got to do is we got to face facts here, guys. The 2-2 Dallas Cowboys are an average football team. I don't want to hear any. They're going to the Super Bowl. They're a Super Bowl team.
Stop yelling.
No.
You're going to peek out the mics again.
I'm just saying. They're not a Super Bowl caliber team right now. They might not even be a playoff caliber team right now. They have some things going for them. And since I've ranted and raved about how bad the game was, let me just get into these things of why you should still believe in your Dallas Cowboys. But man, are they on a short leash right now. 1, Sean Lee missing the game. That is huge. The tackling was bad. Everything was bad without him in the middle. Todd Gurley, I firmly believe, does not go off for 200 yards if Sean Lee is in the game making tackles. That does not happen. Jalen Smith, as much as we love the guy, he's young. He's a little bit inexperienced, and his speed is not all there yet. They can't wait to get Anthony Hitchens back, whom they might have. They might have Anthony Hitchens back for this game against the Green Bay Packers. Which, by the way, Cowboys, you lose at home to the Rams.
Shut up, Sam.
35-30. You get the Green Bay Packers next week. So that's going to be fun.
That's going to be an interesting game.
You got the Rams off 10 days rest. Now you get the Green Bay Packers off 10 days rest. Now the Green Bay Packers are dealing with some injuries. Don't get me wrong. They're dealing with some injuries, and they're coming to play the Cowboys at home. But the Dallas Cowboys crowd was loud today. They were so loud. They were trying to help in any way they could. The Cowboys let them down, lose this game 35-30. The Cowboys have now had games where they've given up 42 points, and they've also given up 35 points. This is not going to cut it in the league. The defense was not playing well today. Everybody was not playing well when it counted. The offense played well to start the game, and then they fluttered to the end. They just basically didn't even get by. Right now, you got the Eagles beating the Chargers 16-7, so the Eagles are ahead in the NFC East right now. The Giants are getting beat 13-3, though. You got things going on here. You're going to get guys back. You're going to get David Irving back next week, another pass rusher, which you desperately need because it seems like the only guy that's getting pressure on the quarterback is number 90, so you definitely need him. You got Anthony Hitchens coming back at the linebacker position. As much as we love Jalen Smith, I think Jalen Smith is going to be relegated to a role-playing type of linebacker while Anthony Hitchens plays middle linebacker. Sean Lee should be back. This is just one of those games that when you lose like this after being up, it's crushing, and it tells you a lot about your football team. It tells you a lot about your football team, guys. They just could not close this one out. It reminds you of those 8-8 football teams. Ryan Switzer, the rookie out of North Carolina, muffs the punt, and that's what set this in motion. The Rams got an easy touchdown out of that. Think about this, guys. The Rams got their first touchdown came on a Cooper Kupp 7-yard. Cooper Kupp gets 7 yards on a touchdown run after that fumbled muff punt from the Dallas Cowboys. Then they get their next touchdown on a 53-yard pass from Jared Goff, where they just literally they were just not even paying attention, couldn't stop them. And the rest of this, I'll tell you what it is. 7 field goals. The Rams beat you with 2 touchdowns and had to kick 7 field goals.
God, that was so cheap.
So
God almighty.
The defense can be,
killed me the whole time.
You can blame the defense a little bit, but you can blame a lot of people in this. You can blame you can blame bad calls, bad coaching. You could blame the fact that blame the offensive coaches for in the second half being as conservative as possible and not trying to keep scoring and keep the points.
Yes, Esteban, this is live. Welcome, you finally made it.
You gotta
after 3 episodes.
You gotta keep scoring points with teams like this. The Rams had already shown you that they can put up 40 points twice this year, and then you decide that you're just going to play it safe for the second half. And all you did was keep putting your defense on the field and keep getting them tired out to where they would give up a 56-yard touchdown, where they would give up another touchdown to Cooper Kupp earlier in the game. But basically, special teams cost you a touchdown, and you literally only gave the Rams 1 touchdown, and you get beat by 7 field goals. That's just awful. If you're going to sit there and say, we're the Dallas Cowboys, we're a playoff team, we're going to get back to this, we're going to be all right. Man, I don't know.
Hear me out. Okay, where were they with that one before that bullshit call with the extra point?
They were on the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, how many points? What was the score then?
It was 32-30.
Okay.
And then he didn't score the 2 points.
I think that derailed the shit out of him. Personally, I think if they had actually got in there and it was not holding. It wasn't holding.
No, they lost the game. They lost the game on the fact that they gave up on that last drive for the Rams. The fact that they just played so far off, did not make tackles. They gave the Rams so much. The Rams took so much time off the clock. It was just incredible. And then they gave the Rams another field goal. And then the Cowboys get the ball back, and they have to go and win the game. No timeouts left with less than 2 minutes in the game to go. That's where they lost the game. They lost the game because they were outcoached. They lost the game because their offense decided to fold up shop in the second half. And that's where I say that they get the Packers next week. You think that defense is going to have that type of game against the Green Bay Packers? I don't care if the Green Bay Packers are missing half the right side of their offensive line. I don't care if they're missing receivers, missing running backs. This is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL, and he will make you pay. He will beat you with scrubs, guys. He will beat you with scrubs. That's what he'll do. And the Cowboys let this one go today. They let this one go 35-30. I mean, in that locker room today, there needs to be, I saw Schwegler post that there needs to be Jesus. Well, they need to have a come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, seriously.
They need to have a come to Jesus moment in that locker room and say, what team are we going to be? Are we going to be a puttering offense that's like, oh, you know what? We're going to win this here and lose that there. We're just going to kind of trade wins and losses.
Kind of like the Cast of Scrubs, yes.
Kind of more like the Cowboys were in their 8-8 seasons. So, we're not gonna go too long on this podcast today. It's gonna be like a 20-minute episode today. But just watching what they did in this game, you don't even want to talk much about it. Just about how bad that they played to close out in those last 2 quarters. It was incredibly, incredibly awful play by the Dallas Cowboys. All we can say right now is, you're going back to the drawing board. You got Green Bay coming in next week. Hopefully you'll have guys like Sean Lee coming back, Anthony Hitchens coming back, David Irving coming back. You'll have guys that are coming back to play in this game that can really help your defense.
We're not doing a 24-hour episode, Estevan.
Don't even answer Estevan. He's just going to keep throwing jokes at you, and that's not what we're here to do on the podcast. But They couldn't get anything going in the second half, guys, and that's why your Dallas Cowboys are 2-2. That's why they're 2-2 sitting here looking at 2-3 next week when the Green Bay Packers come in. Because the Green Bay Packers are not going to let you win games playing like you did tonight. Playing like you did this afternoon. You were up in this game. You should have won this game. There's no excuse for losing this game. Dak Prescott was playing well in the first half, didn't play well in the second half.
Wait, he was throwing shit all over the place.
Well,
that last quarter, there was like the last few minutes of the game. It was just like throwing an error. What ghost do you see on the field that you're throwing at?
He was trying to make something happen. He's trying to connect with Des Bryant, and that was not happening.
Didn't happen at all.
Even on that last drive where they got James Hand in the end zone, they connected a couple times, which was nice. But this offense is just not playing up to what they should be playing to. The defense is young, and we told you that this before the season started. This defense was young and inexperienced, and they needed this offense to help them out. And so far, they haven't gotten any help. They haven't gotten any help from the offense, and that's why they're looking at 2-2. That's why the Cowboys are at 2-2 going into Green Bay Packers. They could be 2-3 in their bye week, and then you got real problems. Because guess what? When you start losing games, that camaraderie that you have in the locker room starts to fail. Everything starts to go down. Somebody needs to step up and say, this is not the team we want to be. We want to be the winners that we were last year. That's what you want to get to. We told you at the top of the show, this is not last year's team anymore. Right now, this is the Cowboys. They are 2-2, on pace for 8-8. That's what they're on pace for, which would be a huge letdown for the Dallas Cowboys, who were riding so high in 2016 to get knocked down to earth this year. You get a first place schedule when you're first place, and that's what the Cowboys have, a first place schedule. But the Rams defense is not the Broncos. They're not as good as the Cardinals. They're not even as good as the Giants, and you just let yourselves get beat.
Cody asked if you think this is a sophomore slump.
No. I don't think it's a sophomore slump from Dak, because you look at his numbers still, and you see that he's still got some pretty good numbers up there. You see that he has 3 touchdowns. He's only thrown 3 interceptions, but he's also he's got now, with the touchdowns that he threw in the Cardinals game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's got a great touchdown to interception ratio. He's not throwing a lot of picks in these games or anything. What I think, if you want to say sophomore slump for the entire team, then yeah. I would say, my gosh, they're just struggling with a capital S, struggling bad. But I mean, that's the way football goes. You're not going. The Patriots got beat today by the damn Carolina
Oh yeah,
Panthers.
they did. Oh my God, by
Okay.
or did they annihilate him? Was it not by ladder? Oh shit! I just looked at the score and now I'm forgetting.
The Buffalo Bills beat. No, they didn't annihilate them. The Buffalo Bills beat the Atlanta Falcons. So to take this back to something you can think about. The Houston Texans put 57 points on the Tennessee Titans today. That's incredible to me. To take this back to what you can look at now is this is a team that is struggling, and they need to make a decision. Where are we going to go from here? Are we going to just keep trading wins and losses, or are we going to be the team that we know we can be and win some damn games? Put some games together. They get the Green Bay Packers, and then they have a bye week, and then they get the San Francisco 49ers. If they win both of those games, then I think that you could say, okay, I think the Dallas Cowboys just kind of they kind of had a tough start, but they're back to get they're trying to start the car again. They need to start it. They need to start that car because they are not playing consistent football. And when you have inconsistencies on defense, on offense, your offense just stalls completely in the second half, and your defense can't hold anymore. They can bend and not break, but if you're not scoring points, they're going to bend and break. And when you see that happen, you have all these inconsistencies. That's what creates an average team. The Dallas Cowboys right now are an average team. Take it for what you will. They have another game this Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. Then they get their bye week. We'll be back with more Brews and the Boys next week.
Yes. And if you're watching this right now, share the video after it's done. That'd be nice, because then like a shit ton of people get to see this.
Hopefully the Dallas Cowboys can come back from all this that they've seen, this adversity that they've faced in the first month of the season. But so far, they have just shown you everything they've just shown you inconsistency from top to bottom, and that's been their problem. They cannot, even against the Cardinals, that win that they got in the second half, they were beaten almost every statistical category that we told you last week. They were beaten almost every statistical category. The Cowboys have some soul searching to do, and unfortunately, they got a week to do it because the Green Bay Packers are coming to town. So we're going to sign off now. We're going to sign off right now. This is Brews and the Boys. Thanks for joining us after the loss. Guys, just hang your hat on the fact that there's some defensive players that are coming back. Hopefully that means that they'll be better on defense. And hopefully this offense will find a way to get it going.
It's only been the first 4 games. We've seen 2-2. We've seen crazier things come about.
Yeah,
just saying.
But 2-2.
We'll be okay.
I mean, 2-2. This isn't. This kind of feels like a bad 2-2. So the Cowboys need to show us that they're better than this.
I don't know what that means.
Until signing off here, Cowboys 2-2, lose to the Rams today, 35-30, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye, everybody. Oh, we gotta stop it. Oh, bye, click, clack.
Before I drink my tears away.
Before you drink the tears away,
Stop it.
No, should we stop it?
Yeah,
Stop hey, everybody, we love you, but it's
no,
I'm gonna edit all of it out. Bye.
Stop it. It's fine.
Wait, stop. It won't stop.